Hey guys, welcome back to the Sullivan family. I have been relegated to the bedroom this afternoon, so you'll have to excuse the carnage of the washing and the ironing and everything else in the background. The little ones are crashed out in the lounge with Olivia. Obviously they've got chickenpox still, so they're still quite poorly, and Erin is in the dining room doing some colouring. So I thought I would come upstairs and do this vlog quickly while they are all kind of occupied. Okay, so firstly I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for their response and lovely comments about last week's vlog, about my whole organisation of cleaning books. There's a few people that sort of said, you know, some of the tips on there were really helpful, so I'm really pleased about that, because it's nice to know that I'm not completely mad and that some people find my methods helpful. But you know, as I said in the last one, if any of the things that I kind of mention at any time are helpful to other people, then that's really good, because I know I'm just literally telling you guys about the things that help me. So if they help somebody else as well, then that's, you know, that's a really good thing. So as I said last week, I'm going to do a couple of different vlogs about different ways that I organise things and all those sorts of things. So this week I'm going to tackle the how do I do the budgeting and banking, kind of keep on top of the financial situation in the house. So I kind of keep all the finances in order because I do, and because it's just, you know, Ben's happy to just leave me to deal with all the financial kind of stuff and money in and money out and all that. So I did some training years ago as a bookkeeper, but we're going back quite a few years, but it has kind of helped a little bit when it comes to keeping our own books. So like anybody at the moment, especially, you know, we are on a pretty tight budget. There's a lot of people in the house, there's a lot of things that need to be paid for, and you know, we did years back get into a fair amount of debt because buying things we couldn't afford, or not buying things that we couldn't afford, but buying things that were maybe out of our price range, you know, trying to keep up with other people, basically, different areas that we've lived in, you know, trying to do all the things that we thought we should be doing when really we couldn't afford it and things like that. Whereas, you know, we got our finances sorted out, back on an even keel, and we've both been sort of really determined over the last 10 years to only spend what we can afford, really. I mean, we have got a couple of credit cards and we do use them, but we pay them off as well, because obviously you've got the flip side of the situation where if you don't have any credit at all, then when you come to go for a mortgage or anything like that, then you're kind of frowned upon because you haven't had any credit. So we do have a couple of credit cards which we have only got very low limits on, and we do use them, and then we'll pay them off every month. But the money we put on them, we would have had to spend that money anyway, because it's usually on things like birthdays or you know, Christmas, all those sorts of things. So it would be money we would be putting away, and you know, I know we kind of would pay interest on that, but then it helps us out in our credit rating kind of way. So that's the reason we use our credit cards. As I said, you know, there's 13 of us in the house, 13 people to feed, 13 people to clothe. There's, you know, after school clubs, the girls all dance, Noah plays football. So there's lots of things to be considered. So yet again, I have a book. You see, I like my books. So this is probably about banking book number 4. I've been doing it this way for years. Obviously I'm not going to show you every single individual detail because there's lots of private information in there, but this is the kind of, you know, this is the sort of thing. Ben hates looking in my banking book, it stresses him out. But so basically it's just literally an A4 book, yeah, nothing expensive, no kind of going out and buying whatever, the first thing I do is in any new book, and this is something that I do keep on top on quite a lot, is I will write down our monthly outgoings and direct debits. So everything that's going to come out by standing order or direct debit every month, and I write them down in date order. You know, if you don't know those things, you need to find them out. Really, you can find things out on your bank statements. You can kind of work out. It's really important to know when things are going to come out of your account, because obviously it's those sorts of things that trip you up when you don't have the money in for them, or you haven't planned for that. So it's really, to start off with, it's really important to know when everything's going to come out of your bank account. So I write down every single thing that comes out of our account on a monthly basis, and I do it in date order, because obviously, you know, there's money going into the account at different times of the month, so it's important to know when things are going to go out. And the other thing I do with them as well is, quite often if you get like car insurance or home insurance or something, it's usually for a year, and then they'll want you to renew. So I make sure that in a year's time, I mean, Ben does deal with all the renewals of everything. I don't kind of phone round or anything like that. He deals with that, but then he tells me how much it's going to be, and I make sure that I keep up to date with whether things are going to change. You know, has the insurance gone up? Any of those little things, little details that I need to change. So I'm kind of always on top of that, so I know when things are going to come out. So that's the first thing that I do. This is just something, I mean, not many people are going to have to do this, but because we've got so many mobile phone contracts in the house, because obviously the girls have all got mobile phone contracts, Noah's got a mobile phone contract, me and Ben have got mobile phone contracts. So anything that's got a lot of things like that, and Sky TV as well, I kind of have made a note of the dates that we took the contract out, dates that they're due to finish, dates that they can upgrade, all those sorts of things. So it's all down on paper. I also have done a breakdown of like the Sky Glass, what we're paying for, just in case, because companies, they do like to put things up sometimes, and quite often if you don't know what you're actually paying for, you kind of can't sort of say, well, I don't, you know, if they've put something up, I know when there's money missing from my bank account. I know that Ben's been to the shop before Ben gets home from work, because I'll check our bank account quite often, and it's not that I'm paranoid, but we have to count every single penny. So, you know, if a company suddenly takes £76 instead of £73, I'm going to think, well, have they taken £3 extra? And I know it might sound silly, but if they do that over a certain amount of time, that adds up to be like, one time we were paying £5 for Sky Go or something like that, and I think it had ended up being that it was supposed to be free, and it wasn't. But I noticed that, and I phoned them up and I got it sorted, because, you know, it might only be £5 a month, but £5 a month for a year, you know, that's quite a lot of money that you could, for nothing. So it's just keeping on top of everything. It's your money at the end of the day, it's your money, and you're entitled to use it how you want to use it. So yeah, I keep on top of all of that. That's kind of my second thing. Obviously not for everybody, because not everybody will have as many kind of iPads and phones and everything as we have. But yeah, just making sure that you know what companies are taking money for, and if you've got it on a trial basis, like I think we had Netflix for a while on $5.99 a month, when's it going to go up to $9.99, you know, things like that. So you just, it might seem silly at the time, and you might think, oh, I'll remember that, but you never do, you never remember. And then all of a sudden they take out extra, and that difference of a £5 could be something that you needed for something else. So yeah. So at the beginning of each month, I will write down everything we've got. So I'll write down what's coming into the account that month, wages, any benefits you might have, anything else that's coming in. I'll write down what, you know, when is it coming in, how much is it, any extra, you know, other jobs you've got, or anything else that comes in on a regular occurrence. That's the first thing. So each month I set up a new page, and I'll write in what wages are coming in, and you know, anything else that's going to come in that month and what date they're coming in. And then I will do a list of all the direct debits, literally like how much on each date. So the first is, most people have their direct debits set up for the first, so how much is coming out on the first, what's the next date, the next date, the next date. I was, you know, and each, so you know, right, I've got enough money in my account until the 5th to pay for these, because like I said, you've got money coming in at different times of the month. So, you know, you might have a direct debit that's coming out on the 28th that you can't afford on the 1st, but it's fine because you've got money coming in on the 15th. So, you know, it's a kind of about just balancing it all each month. So that's the first thing I do at the beginning of each month, is write down what's coming in and what's going out. And then I will do a kind of list, really, if you like. So, you know, how much you've got in the account, and then just literally go down each kind of date as to what is coming out on what date, and include things like shopping. It's another thing that we try and budget for. So our shopping budget is less than we probably spend on shopping. So our shopping budget is $3.20 a week, but you know, bearing in mind that's for 13 of us, and that's for everything. So that includes school lunches. Some of the older ones have lunches at school, some of them take lunch to school, the younger ones have packed lunches. So that's for everything. The money that I put on the older ones have got Young Scot card, so the money that I put on their card every week, and it includes toiletries, shampoo, toilet roll, kitchen roll, nappies, wipes, everything. So that budget kind of isn't just for food, it's for everything. Now, I might well go over that budget, but if the budget is there in place, then I kind of have something to stick to. The other thing, you know, we pay for every month, like, as I said, we pay a little bit off our credit cards. We pay for the girls' dance lessons. What else do we pay for? So any of those sorts of things that you know are going to come out on certain dates. So I'll go through at the beginning of the month. Right, we've got wages have come in on this date. On the 1st, we need to pay for these things up until the 5th. And then we've got, you know, something else coming in on the 5th, which will then pay for the things up to the 18th. And then, you know, we've got, I don't know, another set of wages coming in on the 18th, which will pay for the rest of the month. And in the middle of that is kind of money. I do like a forecast, if you like, of a scenario, a would-be scenario for the month. Of course, it never works out like that, because there's always other things that come in that you need to pay for that you didn't know. But if you kind of can do all the things, if you can list what you've got coming in at what date, and what is going out what date, you kind of know how much money you're left with for just stuff. We call it spare cash. It's never spare because it's always to pay for all the other things. But if you kind of know how much you've got left over, and we don't have much left over at the end of the month, but that's to sort of pay for, you know, a Chinese, or extra fees for something, or, you know, something that might need trainers. No one needed football boots the other day. It's all those sorts of things. I mean, we have an overdraft, but I hate going into my overdraft. And I know it's not overly expensive to pay for, but I just don't like going into the overdraft, because it's one of those things that once you're in it, it's very difficult to get out of it, because every month you end up dipping back in it. And so I try not to use it if I really don't have to. But yeah, I just find, and I mean, I will redo this. I also write down on the other page things that we've spent. So on the back of the page, there's a whole list for shopping and what I spent on shopping. And there's another list for like extras. So it's the purchases list, extras, other, spare, all the extra bits. So you can look back and go, oh, that's where that money went. And just anything that I think is relevant to write down, because like I've said before, my memory is shocking, and I'll go, well, where did I spend that whatever money? Whereas if I've written it down, I know where I spent that money. And like I said, I check our bank account every day, sometimes every couple of days. especially if I've spent money, so I can kind of redo that list of money with I mean, you'll see here it's all kind of crossed out all the time because I'm constantly kind of redoing the list of, you know, what money is coming in and going out. I know it might seem like, you know, quite a lot, but I'm used to doing it now, so it's kind of just one of the things that I do just so that I can keep on top of what's, like I've said, what's coming in, what's going out, and so that I know if we can afford certain things that month, if we can afford to go over the budget for something else, if you know, something might have to wait until the following month, or I might have to put something on a credit card, or, you know, just to kind of manage the money. I mean, you know, soon enough they're going to start asking for more money for our gas and electricity, and it's going to have to come from somewhere. I don't really know where, but, you know, when you're kind of living on quite a tight budget, it just makes it a little bit easier if you try and make that money last all month as best you can. You kind of don't find that you're left without money at certain times, and it's really hard, especially if you haven't got much coming in. It is really difficult to kind of make that money last, but it just, I don't know, it helps me to know what I can and can't afford, and I can look forward to a few months time and sort of say, right, well, I can take some money for that to put away for savings, or, you know, but I can't do that this month because I've got to pay for something else. So yeah, it's just a way of keeping on top of everything that's coming in and going out. And also you notice if things go missing from your bank account, or, you know, if somebody takes something that more money than they should do. It's just about kind of keeping on top of what is yours. And it's also things like, sometimes you might have a direct debit, and if you don't regularly check your bank account, you might be paying for something that you don't need to be paying for. You know, it might be something that should have expired. It might be something that you don't use anymore. There's lots of ways of, you might find that you're paying a gym membership from however many years ago, and you forgot all about it, and it's an extra 10 quid a month, you know, and everything adds up. All of the money adds up. And when you're living on a budget, it's really important to kind of just keep on top of it, keep checking what you're paying for. Is there a way of getting things cheaper? And like I said, at the end of the day, you know, it's your money, so it's up to you what you spend it on. And if you think you can afford something, it makes it easier to see what you've got in front of you, and you think, well, I can afford to do that this month, or, you know, we can't afford to do that this month. So it just makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, that's how we kind of keep on top of our budget, if you like. I mean, it doesn't make money magically appear where there isn't any, but it helps to spread out what we've got and kind of make sure that, you know, we can afford everything that we have. One of the things I would say is, if you are struggling with debt in any way, the Citizens Advice were brilliant with us. We went to see them years ago. Don't get dragged into these companies that offer to do this, that and the other for you. You end up paying them a load of money, and just don't get dragged into that. My first piece of advice would be to go to the Citizens Advice either online, or I think you can go online, or in person. I mean, I think our local one now is at the council offices, so there's normally somebody you can go and see, somebody completely impartial who isn't going to be taking any of your money, if you like, and they're probably the best people to advise. I think there's like a national debt helpline as well, but any of those sorts of people that aren't in it to make money out of you are the best people to go and speak to, because there's a lot of companies out there that are they say they're debt management companies, but they take a massive chunk and not much gets paid off, and it doesn't necessarily help you all that much. So it's kind of yeah, I would just say go and speak to the professionals, get there, you know, they're really helpful, really helpful. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just one of those things that happens, and it spirals. Debt can spiral, you know. One minute you've borrowed this much, and then you're borrowing this much to pay this much off. You know, we've been there, we know how it feels, and it just, before you know it, it can get out of control, and then it's, you know, then you're in the realms of you don't know how to deal with it. There are people that you can speak to. There are, you know, impartial people that you can speak to, and people that will help. You don't have to kind of face it on your own. There are people, there is things that can be done, and there is people that will help you. But yeah, like I said, this is the way we do it. This is how we kind of manage everything. We are living on quite a tight budget. There are things we have to say no to, you know. That's just the way it is with having a large family. Would we like more money coming in? Everybody would like more money coming in, you know. We want to be able to get on the housing ladder and all those sorts of things. But who knows? At the moment, you know, we plod on as we do, and we do okay, and we just keep, you know, managing as we do. Yeah, so I hope this has kind of helped in some way to anybody else that might, you know, want a little bit of direction in how to budget for things and how to stay on top of things. If anybody is, it's really difficult to kind of explain it because it's something that I do all the time. So then you kind of think, have I explained everything that I wanted to explain? But if there's anything that anybody wants me to expand on or anything like that, then, you know, just drop a comment and I'll do what I can. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. I will be back again with another video. I might do a storage one next week. I'll have a think and see which one I'm going to tackle next. Of my many madness books and storage and organisational tips. Maybe I should have an organisational tips page or something. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Drop us a like, drop us a comment. As always, we really appreciate it. You know, we love reading everyone's comments. We love having everyone's support. And if we can help in just any little way, you know, with any of the kind of, I wouldn't even call it advice, just the way that we do things, then that's a bonus as well. So yeah, stay tuned and we will see you soon. Bye.